In 1928, biologist Alexander Fleming was studying a group of bacteria commonly known as staph infections. Before leaving for a family vacation, Fleming inoculated a series of culture plates, giving them time to colonize while he was gone. When Fleming returned to his lab on September 3, 1928, he noticed that one of the culture plates had become contaminated with a fungus. Fleming was messy, so he was used to finding unusual growths in his culture plates. But this growth was different. Fleming noticed that the staph infection surrounding the fungus had been destroyed, while the staph infection further away was unaffected. What he didn't realize was that he just discovered penicillin, the world's first antibiotic. For the next 16 years, Fleming and a team of scientists worked to make penicillin widely available to the public. It's estimated that penicillin has saved 80 to 200 million lives and adds 5 to 10 years to the life expectancy of US citizens. For this reason, some people refer to Fleming's discovery as the single greatest victory ever achieved over disease. It would be great if the story ended here, but sadly it doesn't. Fleming himself presented penicillin to the world with a warning. During laboratory studies, Fleming noticed that microbes quickly learned to resist penicillin through mutation and natural selection. He warned that improper use of penicillin could produce strains of bacteria that antibiotics could not cure. Unfortunately, the world did not listen. Deemed a wonder drug, doctors began prescribing penicillin for everything. Currently, the CDC estimates that doctors incorrectly prescribe 47 million antibiotic treatments each year. In the end, Fleming was right. The widespread abuse of antibiotics has created strains of antibiotic-resistant infections known as superbugs.
We are still losing the battle against so-called superbugs.
Currently, superbugs are responsible for 700,000 deaths per year, and that number threatens to be as high as 10 million deaths per year by the year 2050. The story about Fleming and the misuse of antibiotics is the perfect example of what can happen when you take a good idea too far. This universal truth applies to almost every good idea, and the self-improvement industry is not immune to this problem. In fact, many good self-improvement ideas become harmful when taken too far. In this video, I want to warn you about 2 self-improvement ideas that can become harmful and show you how to avoid their trap. Harmful idea number 1 is it's intentions that matter. Your intentions describe how you want to behave and what you hope your behavior will accomplish. For example, a student might intend to study and go to class with the hope of receiving a degree. When clearly defined, good intentions are helpful because they influence positive behavior. After all, a student who clearly defines a study plan is more likely to take action and earn a degree. Intentions can also be beneficial when dealing with other people, and that's because identifying someone's intentions can help with forgiveness and understanding. As an example, it's easier to forgive your friend for saying something hurtful if you know they intended to be funny. Intentions become problematic when you use them as a measure of success. Here's what that might look like. You expect a company to pay you for the work you intended to do, not the work you did. Or you expect your family members to judge you for how you intended to treat them, not how you actually treated them. Ultimately, this mindset leads to trouble, and that's because people, employers, and the world don't evaluate you based on what you intended to do. They evaluate you based on what you did. Your intentions can explain your position if you've made a mistake, but they're not a never-ending get-out-of-jail-free card. You can't continue to drop the ball at work or forever be disrespectful to your family members and expect that your intentions will right your wrongs. Now, you might be surprised that people act this way, but there are 3 reasons that explain why. The first reason is it's easy. Being a good employee or a respectful family member takes effort, but when you use your intentions as a measure of success, you free yourself from doing the work. The second reason is it's freeing. It's not easy to apologize or admit your faults, but it's the best way to right your wrongs. Conveniently, when you use your intentions as a measure of success, you no longer have to be accountable for your actions. And reason number 3 is it feels good. Most people feel guilty when they screw up or drop the ball, and this is an uncomfortable feeling. However, when you use your intentions as a measure of success, you no longer have to feel guilty about what you've done. There are 2 reasons why it's harmful to use your intentions as a measure of success. Reason number 1 is it stops your growth. You don't become better by thinking you're better, you become better by behaving better. You see, if you want to become a better employee, That might involve getting better at communication, negotiation, and customer service. And if you want to become a better family member, that might mean being more caring, respectful, and trustworthy. When you use your intentions as a measure of success, you have no reason to improve your behavior. And that's because you don't believe it matters. Ultimately, the big problem with adopting this mindset is you lose your ability to grow. The second reason why it's harmful to use your intentions as a measure of success is you harm other people. Imagine that you intend to be a great teacher, but you're never prepared and you cut corners wherever possible. If you were to evaluate yourself based on your intentions, you conclude that you are doing a great job. But if you were to evaluate yourself based on your actions, you'd recognize that you are robbing your students of the opportunity to learn. The truth is, you can't help people with your intentions. What you think won't educate a student, stop a heart attack, or help someone in a time of need. The only way that you can help other people is by taking action. The second self-improvement idea that can lead to trouble is the concept of not having expectations. An expectation is a strong belief that something should happen. Expectations fall into two broad categories. Those are realistic and unrealistic expectations. As an example, it's realistic for an employer to expect employees to do their job. But it's unrealistic for a wife to expect her husband to know that she wanted pizza for dinner if she didn't tell him. The reason a lot of self-improvement advice tells you not to have expectations is because they influence your happiness. In general, people tend to be happy when their expectations are met and unhappy when they're unmet. As an example, if you receive the paycheck you expect, then you'll be happy. But if you don't, there's a good chance you'll be unhappy. The concept of not having expectations is good advice when referring to unrealistic expectations. That's because unrealistic expectations are unlikely to be fulfilled, and this promotes a never-ending cycle of unhappiness. But to suggest that people should not have realistic expectations is bad advice, and the following two reasons explain why. Reason number one is you lose control. Realistic expectations are helpful because they establish boundaries that clearly define what you will and will not accept. To understand why realistic expectations are important, consider what would happen if a married couple didn't expect each other to be faithful, a country didn't expect its citizens to obey the law, or a military general didn't expect soldiers to follow orders. Ultimately, when you let go of realistic expectations, you lose control of your life. And that's because when you can't draw a line in the sand, people take advantage of you. Reason number two is you miss warning signs. Realistic expectations help you identify problems, and that's because when you clearly define what you will and will not accept, you create warning signs that tell you something is wrong. If a husband is unfaithful, that indicates a problem in the marriage. If a citizen breaks the law, that indicates a problem in the country. And if a soldier disobeys orders, that indicates a problem in the troops. Ultimately, by refusing to set realistic expectations, you miss out on these helpful warning signs. Okay, before I go, I want to leave you with 3 quick ideas that can prevent self-improvement from steering your life off course. Idea number 1 is be accountable. Few people like to admit when they're wrong, but it truly is the best way to fix your problems. So if you screw up, don't hide behind your intentions. Instead, learn to identify your mistakes, understand the value of a good apology, and do your part to fix the problem. Idea number 2 is use your actions, not your intentions, as a measure of success. When you use your actions as a measure of success, you gain access to the valuable feedback that's necessary for growth. That's because every time you succeed or fail, you learn something new. While it's not easy to evaluate and change your behavior, it is worth the effort. And that's because over time, the practice builds character, confidence, and competence. And when it comes to your relationships, doing so builds trust, respect, and depth. And idea number 3 is identify and eliminate unrealistic expectations. As you've learned, there's value in learning to let go of unrealistic expectations. To help yourself identify unrealistic expectations, you can ask yourself the following 3 questions. Question number 1 is, does this expectation require someone to read my mind? If someone needs to read your mind to meet your expectation, like expecting your wife to know that you want sushi for dinner without telling her, then your expectation is unrealistic. Question number 2 is, does this expectation require me to control something I cannot control? If your expectation requires you to control something that you cannot control, like expecting everyone to agree with you, then your expectation is unrealistic. And finally, question number 3 is, do facts or logic suggest this expectation is possible? So in general, if no facts or logic support your expectation, then it's probably unrealistic. I can't thank you enough for watching this video, and I hope it was helpful. Now, I am shamelessly trying to grow this channel, so it would mean the world if you could subscribe, like, and share the video. Believe it or not, it takes over 100 hours to make these videos, so any help would be greatly appreciated. If you want more information like this, I highly recommend you check out my app, Aware. Aware is a self-improvement based meditation app that teaches you important skills like how to make better decisions, build good habits, and develop more self-confidence. The app combines all of those lessons with guided meditation, which helps you develop the state of mind and self-awareness needed to apply what you've learned. On top of that, you also get the benefits of meditation, like improved focus and sleep, plus a reduction in negative emotions like stress, anxiety, and sadness. So if you like the type of content you see on this channel and self-improvement in general, then I think you'll love Aware. It's available on iOS, Android, and the web, and you can get started today for free with the links below in the description. As a final note, I've also got a list of helpful resources linked below, like a transcript of this video that covers all of the ideas I shared today in a clear and organized format. Thanks again for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you soon.